DeepMind did a demo of a video game being played by a software that learned continuously and got better over time. This is when I was like, oh, this is going to change everything. And I was thinking about financial data analysis and auditing, which is a repeating process. As I said, the first person that applied that deep reinforced learning principles into financial data analysis will win the game.
Solon Angel, welcome to the show.
Thanks for me.
This is very exciting. I mean, I've been waiting for a long time to do this, partially because I like catching up, but also I kind of think of you that you're the godfather of AI in some ways, at least in startup land. I mean, you're not Jeffrey Hinton, but like you were one of the first people that I knew that built a startup in AI.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah, 2014. I mean, that was a long time ago. So I would love for people to just get to know you a little bit. So tell us a little bit about your background, the MindBridge story, and what you're working on today.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, Adin. Always a pleasure. And thank you for being my first investor again.
Of course, it'd be stupid not to invest. That's how I would say it.
Yeah. So, I have 3 passports, world citizen, speak 4 languages, born in Brazil, raised in France and West Indies. And I like to say educated in Europe, forged in Silicon Valley, and then landed in that industry, which is accounting tech and analytics, which evolved into advanced analytics, which evolved into advanced statistics. And one day, advanced statistics became machine learning, and I was in the middle of it, first row witness. And then, I ended up in Canada and worked in that space. And one day, I went back to the startup world, helped fixing Solink after a stint at Caseware. Went to help also Alexander Rink at 360PI a little, and then you at Remotely a little. And then there was something happened in Paris. DeepMind did a demo of a video game being played by a software that learned continuously and got better over time. And then this is when I was like, oh, this is going to change everything. This was in late 2014. And I was thinking about financial data analysis and auditing, which is a repeating process again, and everything happening in accounting is on cycles that repeat themselves. I said, one of the first person that cracked the code at applying that technology, I didn't understand how, but applying that deep reinforced learning principles into financial data analysis will win the game.
As you're saying that, I remember the story. I feel like you and I were in Montreal, we're walking the streets, and you were trying to explain this to me. You're like, auditors, when they audit, they kind of follow these rules. And so the software that had been built up until now were these like very dumb rules, right? Very simplistic. Well, if it's a really large transaction and it happens at 11 p.m., maybe that's suspicious, right? Like this was kind of the state of affair. And you were like, there's this thing, you can use AI and it can have better judgment than humans. And it's not these dumb rules. It can just reason and do all these things. Yeah, so I remember that conversation.
It was cold day. It was a cold
You're
day.
like, what do you think? Could this work as a company? I'm like, I mean, this sounds amazing. Is it possible?
Yeah, and that was the genesis of MindBridge AI, bridging the gap between human and artificial mind, still going strong and tens of millions of dollar revenue. It's funny because I learned an expression while building MindBridge, which I wish I knew earlier. Pioneers have arrows in their back. And I certainly had a few. Like the amount of people who called me full of it because AI is not real in 2015, 2016. Of clients that were like completely dismissive that it's sci-fi, it's nothing real. We had to prove it, taking data from one environment to another and show them that it actually works, that machine learning is a viable technique to do data analysis. Now it seems obvious everywhere around the world, but in 2015 to 2016, it was brutal to go sell to accountants and auditors. I don't know how we survived. I mean, I don't know. I tried to be stubborn. Yeah, so that's about me. So, and then after MindBridge, I went to help iWin. I went to help Pay Shepherd. I had a pact with myself. I don't know if you remember, with Fresh Founders. I was so grateful to you and others in Fresh Founders that opened the doors to me and help. That I said, I'm going to go a tiny amount of money I have, even if it's $5,000 here and there, that I'm going to go help other entrepreneurs as soon as I could. And that's what happened. So I went to help a few other entrepreneurs in Fresh Founders. And then, at some point, being on the sideline doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't be on the sidelines. I mean, I didn't know why you ever thought that you could be.
Well, I mean, I went through a separation with some of the kids, and then I guess I was soul searching. I said, I'm going to maybe lay back and be a corporate boy. and that didn't work out. So after I took vacation for 2 weeks, 2 weeks after I was back on the grind and basically doing Remitian, which at the time was called TaxPay.
Yeah. So what I want everybody to know about you so far is like basically you're the entrepreneur's entrepreneur. I mean, you saw all the companies that Solon listed off. There's an AI thread to through most of them. And I'm very excited about Remitian. So what is it?
It's a guardian for remittances. Essentially, if you look at the, by the way, I learned this literally a couple of weeks ago, fresh off the press. I'll drop you one number. Guess how much taxpayers in North America pay of late fees and penalties alone to tax authorities at the federal level?
Oh wow. This is I feel like one of those Google interview questions. Well, let's see. There's let's say 400 million people. I'm just going to estimate.
Not everyone pays taxes. Not everyone is late. So
Yeah, say there's 150 million people who pay taxes, for the family. And yeah, and if each person pays $100 in late fees, I'm going to say like is that so 150 and 1.5 15 billion? Is that
you can quadruple that.
okay, 60 billion. Wow. That's a lot of late fees.
Yeah, that's insane. That's like a tax on the tax on the economy. It's like an invisible tax nobody wants to pay. Look, the way I look at it is very simple. Dodge and the IRS is being nuked and rebuilt. Centralized tax collection has been something done for centuries by the kings who used to send horses and carriages to collect coffers of gold. And we've always done centralized tax collection, and that's not working anymore. In Canada this year, T4, T5 couldn't be accessed. In the US, they discovered insane issues because payments are not digitalized. Trump a month ago, I'm lucky with my timing. Trump a month ago signed an executive order that no more checks are being used. And we basically built a system that decentralized tax collection in the hands of the accountants to help taxpayers to never have a late fees and penalties. So we're the first one to do that. And of course, I'm using AI inside out to accelerate this.
I'm excited and we're going to show a demo later, but to me it's like this AI agent that does more, right? Like I mean the very basics of it is going to make sure you never pay late fees again. But this is super complicated, right? You have multiple bank accounts, funds come in at different times, so maybe the bank account has enough money, maybe it doesn't.
A lot of regulations around what you can and can't do around that.
Yeah. And then, like, for the accountants out there, I mean, you do this for your clients. It's like, well, this guy has 7 different accounts. One is for the business, one is for this, one is for that. Like, how do you figure out where to take money from to pay which tax bill? I mean, it can get pretty complex. So, I mean, the sort of thing that it would be nice. Like, it's one of those things like, imagine if AI could solve that. That would be cool.
It is. And to me, frankly, I mean, it's not the most sexy thing. I'm not trying to go to Mars. I'm not trying to build like some, drones that do things. And it sounds boring, but when you feel the pain once of tax season and being charged late fees, and I had to go once to a physical bank with a piece of paper coupon to pay my taxes. And it's just insane, right?
The thing is, like, we want to see the demo because then people will get what we're talking about. But once you guys solve this for the, the IRSs of the world and that kind of tax paying, there's so many. There's like city taxes, real estate taxes. I just realized there's a big penalty I'm paying because I didn't get the bill or I misplaced it. And there's just like bills everywhere and penalties everywhere. So I feel like this concept expands.
Absolutely. But it's very hard to do. I'm discovering how antiquated there's a lack of open banking in North America. And to be able to do that fancy thing on top in the space of very regulated, you need to have a compliance bubble around it. And then you can build it's easy. The AI portion is the easy part. The hard part is the infrastructure around it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is super interesting. And, hopefully people get a sense for how complex this problem is, how useful it is to solve. So, let's talk about AI. So, now you're starting this new startup veteran, seen tons of companies, raise crazy amounts of money. You've done it all. So, now you're starting this company from scratch, Remitian, and you're doing it and AI already exists. So, how are you building this company different? What are the effects on your company?
First is like the communication streams are flowing so much better. Like we learn about what other people do so much easier. For example, one of our product engineer created something that the podcast. And basically he created with AI a cool little sexy, like he promoted internally the broadcast was a cool, image generated, and then had the notebook LM produce it and then share it with others. And then with Philo, actually, I mean, Philo has been, I mean, one day I'll share even publicly, like how much Philo has been integrated into what we do, because I expect people to add me as optional participant or publish in the library. And these meetings that I purposely avoid because I know I can just query it with the AI transcript and ask questions to it. That accelerate the understanding. It's like giving us like almost telepathic power in the company. With a team of 15, you have a like you're connected to the hive thanks to AI. So it's so much better quality decision. The intimacy of even our board, like like I just did something 1 hour ago. I took a podcast 10-minute generated from all the transcript of a customer meeting and sent it as a 10-minute podcast to a board member via text. I say next time you're stuck in traffic or driving, listen to this to understand what's happening on that account. Can you imagine that? We could have never done that a year ago. It's insane. Like when I go at the board meeting, my board will be so almost like in our team, knowing what's happening. But also we had situation where, for example, I have term sheets, a legal document. I just pass it through ChatGPT and I start talking to it and learning new and going back. It elevates the conversation with investors. It elevates the conversation we have internally. And so we had also a situation about a couple of months ago. We had a good guy, product manager, and then he was stressed because of me and all stuff I was dumping on him. And then like my demanding the Goku fast, 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 fast. And then he basically was about to quit. And then we agreed to part way. And on his way out, he told me, so you have to slow down. And I'm like, well, no, we're not doing that. So we actually turned around with a lead product engineer and we started building the taxpayer, the AI PM. And basically a GPT wrapper that listens to all the calls everywhere and is an AI product manager that writes, product requirements, suggestions for enhancements, and posts them automatically in Slack. And we never hired a product manager after that. We basically have just immediate connection between sales team and engineering through that joint AI product manager.
You mentioned a lot of things, but this idea that obviously customer calls is where most companies get their product feedback and figure out what they should build. You guys built something that just takes all of the calls and then just does the job of a product manager. It's kind of like an AI PM.
Yeah, and here's the interesting part. Here's the key part of what we did that enables that is actually the computer vision on our UI. So it has context aware of what the features are on the UI by looking at it through the recording using computer vision. It's not us guiding it. It learns looking at it and generates, oh, these are the features of the product. And then you do the GPT wrapper with that. So it's really literally like a human looking at a product and understanding what's being talked about.
The crazy thing for me is that, the problem that you guys are solving as a company is a pretty big problem, like huge opportunity. How do you get the time to also build an AI PM? What has changed about the world of AI that's even a thing that you can consider doing?
Well, it's not me. It's me plus I mean, it's Aaron. Aaron is awesome, and PO. And I mean, we have one adult in the room, and pretty much everyone is a hacker. So so like we always have that thing of spending. Let's try to invest 30 minutes to save 3 hours mindset. And so right now I'm trying to clone myself. I told you I think we're going to be able to clone ourselves as digital beings with AI, and I'd love to have a color version of me in Slack and a gray version in Slack where anyone asks questions to digital Solon when I'm sleeping or when I'm not available on call, recording everything I ever said, the way I think and all of this. And so for us, it's very important to maximize and amplify what we do. And we just have that culture. The thing is like the tools explosion, the tools, people don't appreciate what happened in the last year. The smartest AI a year ago was dumber than the average human. And now we have 8 AIs that have the Albert Einstein level of intelligence in less than a year. People have not processed yet what that means. And when you code, it's the same thing. The things we can do now on rapid prototyping is through the roof.
I remember the other thing that you were mentioning to me before is that at some point, you start building to solve this problem, and then you guys discover a bunch of things. You see the opportunities bigger, and you see the necessity to rewrite your entire code base. Maybe talk about that. What happened, and how did AI help?
Well, our technical lead basically came to me and says, Sono, you have a choice. Then we take the plunge and you upgrade us to, another AI package, more expensive. and we rewrite everything in 3 months, or we basically hire more people and we transition whatever. And I'm not a fan of like half-ass things. Like to me, it's, when I say we do it, it's full ass. So we took the plunge, and I didn't believe his deadline. He says we'll do it in less than 4 months, and I'm like, there's no way you rewrite 3 years of code in 3 months or 4 months, right? That's what they did. Pretty much with cursor, and it's really interesting time to see people that can code having superpowers. We like, and then soft to type 2 is another example of that. It's just everything reports. It's like what took me at MindBridge 30 to 50 people, we did it with 3 to 5 people. Right? It's just insane.
You rewrote 3 years worth of code in 3 months, upgraded it. I mean, this is crazy, right? That never was possible. And you did it with the same size team. I think, in my opinion, what this, and I'm curious to get your take on it, the fact that you can do that, makes me think that like the incremental value of code is less because it just takes, less time to produce. A lot of the moat in businesses is probably around distribution, relationships, clever solutioning, and it's not so much about, individual lines of code anymore. But also, if you can do that, everybody listening in, imagine if you could also rewrite your code base in 3 months and make it an AI first product. So I think this is a thing that everybody can think about, and knowing that it's possible to do things faster than ever might be something everyone considers.
I think we all need to start training ourselves to be more creative than an AI. It's not a game of intelligence anymore. We lost. The faster humans have realized that we're not smarter than the average AI of our times, the better off we'll be to survive. The reality is that what makes us human is the emotional, what I call we're all a bit wackos. We have emotional components that kick in. And then that's what makes them, that's not something that's necessarily productive, but the inspiration, the creativity. You're going to see a bunch of artists being billionaires because they think different than people that are prompting. It's literally what we've been saying for years, which is in the future in the knowledge economy, the creative minds are the ones that are going to be to thrive. Look at that 18 years old guy that did that calorie tracker
Oh,
app. I don't know if
I
you saw
use
that.
it actually. Cal
Really?
AI.
You
Yeah.
know you can do that with ChatGPT. Look, this is a prime example of
I
creativity.
I paid the subscription. I think it was like $40 a year or
But
something. I paid it.
you have a Oura ring.
I
It's
know.
always part
But
of the Oura ring.
oh yeah, you know what? I did realize after it's part of the Aura Ring too. I'm like, by the way, everybody should go check it out. Cal AI. The reason you should check it out is, I mean, this is a 17-year-old kid, right?
Yes, making $30 million.
Yeah, like it got to 30 million in ARR in like a year. How's that even possible? This is insane. By the way, it's a great product. You all should check it out. It's funny, Solon, that you say you should use ChatGPT because like a lot of times the way this app works is you take a picture and it gets the macros of whatever you're about to eat. But a lot of times it gets it wrong. So then I take the photo and I put it ChatGPT and then it gives me a better result, and then I go update but it's got the interface, it's got the interface and it's well built.
You know what's funny about this? I use now ChatGPT in live video view more than through prompts
Oh,
to understand my teenage daughter. So
oh,
it actually tells you, what do you think that person is feeling like? You'll be so surprised that it interprets facial expressions better than the average human.
it's crazy times. So I want everybody to see some of the demos that you've put together. Before we go there, just a quick thing. I mean, I just thought this was ridiculous. I just want you to mention this. Like, you literally told me that you used less. I mean, you had a few different advisors, financial advisors. You don't use as many anymore because you found another solution. What is that solution?
Well, basically, a friend of mine and me coded trading platform with AI using sentiment analysis. And basically, since the beginning of the year, we're up 21%.
And this does better than basically everybody else, right?
Yeah, it's the market is down 8%, and we're up 21% with weekly trades automatically generated. We sent that newsletter. I posted it on LinkedIn a year ago. I say, hey, I'm going to build an AI trader platform. Tell me if you're interested. I had 70 angel investors that are asking for it, but I put it on this ice. I went with my own money. I put 100K and started playing with it. And at some point, we were 3 to 5% per week up. And then we're like, okay, let's just calm down a bit here because the tax it could generate it on that's not fun. So we trickle down. But the beginning of the year, we're up 21%, and the market is down 5 or 8%. So right now, the question is, well, do I need a wealth manager even? Like, do I even need a savings account? Like, just if you have that level of predictability in a machine, what do you need humans in the loop?
I think this is important. And one of my goals with this show is to just give people spark the ideas of what people who are at the edge of this stuff are doing. And the very fact that you can say, like, do I even need a financial advisor in the future? Because I can build this really cool AI system that's going to analyze the things for me. It's going to make recommendations, crazy things that you can do. But let's move into the demo. What is the first thing that you're going to show us?
Well, I can show you two things, but I think the first thing I'll show you is how we use Notebook LM to just do internal podcasts. But I'd like to show you the next version of a product that essentially is ULS almost. So
let's see the Remitian demo, because we were talking about you're building this AI agent that's going to pay your taxes for you. So it sounds super compelling.
So this is the agent view.
Hi, Aaron. This is Alex, Remitian's AI agent. I am calling to let you know that the estimated tax payment scheduled for tomorrow from your operations account has insufficient funds. Would you like me to adjust anything?
Yeah, what do you recommend?
I can split the payment and schedule the available balance for a payment tomorrow and create another payment for next week when the funds are available. This will ensure the IRS records a partial payment and optimize interest. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great. I've scheduled the first payment of $4,500 for tomorrow from the operations account and set the remaining $5,500 to be paid next week when your funds are available. A confirmation email of our changes have been sent.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is amazing. I mean, can I send this video to my accountants and get them, and then just tell them, like, hey, can I get a discount on your services? Otherwise, I'll replace you with AI. By the way, I love my accountants. Don't fret. But, you see a demo like this and it makes you wonder.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing. Accountants want this to be deployed everywhere because they don't want to be blamed when something goes wrong, and they don't have time to call people one by one. They already send emails that you probably ignore, like me, 10 times to send the files in advance.
100%.
And we all ignore the emails. But imagine you have a relentless AI that texts you, calls you, emails you until, hey, you're going to be burned. You're going to be. And so what we're building, that AI component is super easy to build. What is super hard is to do it safely in a banking infrastructure that works at scale, right? And with privacy policies, security policies, and all that. And that's why by the time you post that podcast, probably it will be going live with hundreds of users. Right now, we're just working through the compliance and the licensing. The other thing we're working on this is literally financial services galore. Imagine in the middle of this, we detected that you don't have insufficient fund, and so would you like us to do something about it? And you said, yes, what can I do? Say, well, you can post a transaction, we come back later, or if you want, we can pay it for you. Would you like us to pay your taxes? And say, yes, well, let me check if you're pre-qualified. Do I have your authorization to do a credit check? Says, yes, sure. Does a credit check, comes back, basically tells you, here's the rate you have, we'll pay it for you. If you pay within 30 days, you don't have interest, it's just a $50 administration fee. Can you imagine the power of someone that is a small business owner, a florist, a butcher, someone who's driving that doesn't have time to sit at a computer? It makes their life so much easier.
Yeah, it really feels like, again, you have this, smart assistant that just does what you need it to. And you can talk to it any time. Maybe you could have this call at 11:30 p.m., whenever you want. This is the future.
There's less and less accountants on the planet, and there's less and less availability of humans. And I told you my thesis, right? When I started working deep in AI, I realized that we're becoming digital gods, right? And I know it's scandalous to talk like that for some cultures, but this is the reality. With Zoom, we just invented teletransportation. We can trust is now in 1 second Zoom call on, and you can trust the person. Before the pandemic, that was not the norm. We just did it. We just became digital gods. And then with AI, we're going to clone ourselves to the infinite on voice, reasoning. All those things are being cloned and expanded on the cloud. And I think it's just the beginning.
The other thing that you want to show the podcast, or what do you want to show next?
So keep in mind, so we use Google for this one. It's a different one, but
yeah. So for everyone, this is Notebook LM. It's this really cool tool by Google. You basically can give it a whole bunch of documents, and then it can produce and create a podcast out of it.
So we, in our team, we don't have time to go after all the sources, all the meeting and things. So our product team and our customer success team regularly produce things like this.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zeroing in on TaxPay and Crow Soberman.
Right.
We're looking at how Crow Soberman is actually using the platform based on some recent discussions.
Yeah, we've got transcripts from 3 meetings, October 24, Jan 25, and April 25.
Exactly. And our goal really is to pull out the key insights, see how they're using TaxPay, find those areas where maybe the product could be improved, from a development or user experience angle.
And understand their needs, right? Which obviously evolve over time.
Precisely. It's about understanding that user journey and feeding it back into making the
So I
product
skip
better.
for a second
It's
here.
a great chance to see
Point. Less
So-
friction.
the benefits they were seeing from cloud accounting, kind of featuring TaxPay.
Shows TaxPay is thinking strategically about demonstrating value.
Absolutely. Case studies aren't just marketing fluff, they feed back into product dev too. Real world examples, tangible benefits, helps everyone understand the impact.
Okay, moving on then. Fast forward to January 2025.
Yeah, I love this. This is super cool. I mean, it's a great way to, if you have that document that you just don't have the time to read, or you want to create something entertaining for people.
I tell you, to me, it's entertaining, but not just that. It's like, yeah, you don't have 3 hours or 4 hours to watch 4 meetings, but while you're driving, while you're waiting somewhere, you have 10 minutes to listen to it. I skipped some parts where it's city, but like what was super impressive in that broadcast is that it actually made me learn about our own platform and what customer care the most for. And we created a case study of 1 page in 2 seconds. And then what I'm doing, which they love, we don't have time to do 1 full day board member. I think the board meeting is a thing of the past. Like a board meeting of a full day is super tedious and consuming for everyone, right? So instead of having quarterly board meeting, we have 2 or 1 board meeting a year. But then every week or every 2 weeks, I want to send to my board the best broadcast of the best broadcast. We call that product, the broadcast of the week, or the summary of all the town hall meetings I did in this month, and they get immersed right away in 10 minutes on everything going on around the company, right? It's super powerful. You look at the role of a board is to gain, the board meetings are here to help them gain an understanding of the business to do effective governance. Can you imagine how powerfully? So this morning I just sent to my 5 board member a 10-minute clip that he can listen while driving about what's happening in the company. Like, this is amazing.
It's amazing that something like this can be done. It's funny. One of the developers on our team, I think, took a bunch of server logs and put it into Notebook LM too, and it made even that sound entertaining. Yeah, it's pretty funny. What are you guys doing? And you're using Notion AI too,
Yeah,
right?
a lot.
What do you guys use Notion for, and how do you use Notion AI?
So I go on it and I use only it in the research mode. Do not use the search mode. That's useless. Use the research mode, and it's like deep search on your own company, right? So I basically had it. I ask regularly why people buying us. Like, it has all the transcripts from meetings. It has all the activity of the company. And I used to sell 3 to 4 reasons why people should buy us. When I did that deep research in Notion AI, it found 9 features, and 2 of them I had no understanding of that matters so much. So to me, right now, the other one that I'm a fan of, I love the Notion mail client. I find those labeling are super smart. The smart labels are really better than Google labels or anything else like that. And I think now here's the interesting part. It's garbage in, garbage out. What's very interesting is that it's forcing us to be more disciplined about what we put in Notion, right? Because if you don't do it properly, you have like outdated information. And I look forward what you will see in the next, and that's another one of those Solon prediction. I think in the next 2 years, there's going to be a startup to help you archive, auto-archive anything not relevant anymore based on how often the humans are interacting with that content. Because now there's a pollution component that will happen, right?
That's a good point too. I've never seen the Notion research part. Is that something that you could show?
So if you go here, right, and you say, hey, what are the key objections to buying TaxPay, for example, right? And if you do a search, like, this is great, it's simple, and but I have it as a deep search by default, right? So then when it starts, this is what it does, right? When you have a deep search by default, it goes across all sources, and you can connect your apps as well. Now, if you go back here for a second, you would notice in the just home here, Once you want to find something in your workspace, there's the ask function and the research function. And that's what most people forget to do that. And that's where things get pretty interesting. Like what the
So the one that you just showed us, that was not
search.
research.
No,
That was just ask.
objection to buying product. That was ask. Now it's research. It has the thinking hat on, and that takes 2 to 3 minutes to crunch. And it just crunch and crunch and crunch. And now it's researching. So this is the difference between deep search mode of ChatGPT versus, and look, it does a competitive analysis of our businesses. It's crazy. It's like, I've never done that search, by the way. It's the first one. Probably the objection on a product. Usually I do something else. Look, it searched the call transcript. You can even put it to search the web at the same time. Like, it's just very powerful, right?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that is super cool. Like, can it search Slack?
Yeah.
Have you connected it to Slack?
Not for the deep search, but yeah, it is connected to Slack. Our Notion is connected to Slack. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's super cool.
So
So
now
it
it's
takes all
reading
the different sources in your company.
everything.
Wow. What about email?
Well, that's why they just launched Notion email, right?
Oh, they want to bring email in there too. Okay. And it handles the permissioning, and only you can search your emails. And okay.
I wish I was a shareholder of Notion. And she's still searching. We're talking. It's like now 2 minutes. 2 minutes into
I guess
it.
they're really doing a lot of work here. How does the pricing work? Do they charge more if you use, you know how if you have the plus on ChatGPT, only certain number of deep researches per month? I guess these guys are not throttling it.
No, they're not. I think they use their own LLM, right? So they don't have the same cloud computing thing.
I think they're going to lose money on you. I feel like you will use this a lot.
I live by it, man. It's just, look how much stuff is doing. Like, and now I'm forcing the company to basically copy. If it's not in Notion, to copy. I would love to have a fellow extractor straight into that, like a fellow connector to Notion, right?
How are you guys get? Oh, I literally like created a full on document based on this. How are you getting the call transcripts? Like, is it Zapier or is
No,
it
we're
manual?
not. That's why I'm asking the feature request here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll get on that right away.
It's
It can
pretty
be super
simple.
useful.
You can save it as a page wherever you want. That's my number one most favorite feature.
Oh, wow. So
you
once
can
you've done the
copy it.
work, other people can just
Yes. Or you copy it, and if you save it as a page, you can edit it before making, it's super good. So like, pricing, perceived value, the processing speed, the user experience, integration workflow, it's super accurate.
But I have a question. So how do you have so many documents in there? I mean, like, do you guys really produce all that much document, or what is it searching?
Yeah, I mean, we have a Google Drive is plugged into it.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
like
so
Notion is like the the Medusa. It has like, it's like the octopus. It has like it's the octopus, and I mean, Google needs to really, I really would not want to be an executive at Google. You have like search being, challenged. You have Google Drive being challenged, all by companies that were on the fringe that all of a sudden with AI becomes centerpiece of the experience of the corporation. I mean, Google reacted. You'll see they'll launch like a Notion-like experience. The Note with LM is an example of that. It's a very exciting time, and all of that. This competition is all to our benefit as entrepreneurs, right? Like we have superpower. I mean, I remember 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when I was working at AMD, they had that, content CMS project plan. They spent $2 million on the content management system with nomenclature, open text, same thing, right? All those companies now, like you have innovators like us with like $29 a month. Here you go. You have everything even better.
it's a great time to be a consumer of software. Like there's just so much good stuff. This has been amazing. So we've seen an AI agent that can, connect to your bank account, move stuff around, pay your taxes for you. Demo of Notion AI was super, super cool. We talked about a lot of the different use cases that you use for this stuff. The question that I always like to end on is, what are you most excited about over the next 12, 18 months?
Solving really hard technical banking compliance problems that were almost impossible because of human power was required with AI invisibly, completely invisible. Like solve them, like you're in a room and all of a sudden nobody notices that, something happened is completely different. And things that it was super interesting is I'm going head to head with multi-billion-dollar financial institutions that are not even, because they don't understand how to solve that incredible problem, right? They don't even take action. They're inactive. They're not even trying. They gave up. And then I show up. So imagine there's a massive fire in the field. And then there's a fireman here with his hose, and that's the corporation. And he has a fancy, expensive truck that I can't buy to do firefighting. And I'm arriving here with an army of mini drones in my pocket that I can 3D print on cheap and put just 500 milliliters of water in it and deploy them with the press of a button and send them away and just extinguish the whole forest. That's what I'm excited about. It's like giving superpowers to one individual. I don't know if you saw the video this week of Andrew Reel that they shut off 70 drones with one device. So 70 drones arrive to attack an area, and then with one device, they just remotely disable 70 drones. That's the same. I'm going to do that with the friction around tax. Like all these headaches of gathering documents, all these headaches of paying on time and all those billions of dollars wasted every year on small business owners that struggle. We're going to arrive with an army of 20 little guys like us and press a button. And all of a sudden, people were like, how could that be another way? You know?
Crazy times are coming, but I would love for you to solve those problems. Please do. Make
I'm
all of our lives
doing my
better.
trying as hard as I can.
Solon, thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me, Aidan.
And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of This New Way. If you like the content, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe so you can get notified when we post the next episode. See you next time.